Brad Lidge made this hill a fortress. 48 times he's held off the opposition and capped the Phillies win, including the last win, the ultimate win. He was the savior in so many ways for the Phillies. Please welcome number 54, Phillies closer, Brad Lidge. You can touch them all. Good to see you, Brad. Thanks for coming. Brad Lidge, everybody. I was wondering, where should I go? You don't do that when you come out to the mound. You know where to go.
It's a very self-explanatory path.
Just right there. And we needed you 48 times. You came through actually 51 times going back to the season before, which is absolutely amazing. So tell us, because there are two really enduring images that everybody snaps to in Phillies history. One is Tug McGraw in '80, and now the other in 2008 is Brad Lidge. It's every kid's dream. Can you give us a description now, looking back on it, that last out, you strike out Hinske on 3 straight pitches?
And it really is every kid's dream, and you almost don't even let yourself think about that moment, because you don't dare to dream that until it actually happens. And I remember throwing the pitch and watching his bat swing over the top of it and just jumping up, and then all of a sudden the whole gravity of what just happened hit me, and it was incredible. That's why I was yelling to Carlos. I was like, "Oh my God, we just won the World Series!" And it was awesome. And then about 2 seconds later, I remember Howard putting a hit on me, and it never felt so good to get taken down like that.
Could you hear this while you're pitching? And we've asked you that before, but could you sense the fans? Did you feed off it? Did it make you? I'm sure you're not nervous, but what was the sensation?
It's interesting, because normally as a closer, or really as probably most people in this game, but you try and block everything out and just focus on what you're doing. But in that particular instance, the fans were so into it. There was so much energy going on, and it was so loud that I was kind of letting a little bit in. And I mean, it was incredible. I think I used that energy a little bit to get out there and to do my thing. And while I was trying to stay focused, of course, and that's something that the fans, I don't even know if they still realize how great they were for us in the postseason and the regular season. I mean, the energy they had, we used, and that helped us win the whole thing. So it was an incredible experience, and yeah, on occasion you can let it in a little bit, and it helps you out.
We sat here a year ago. You were coming off knee surgery. Did you have any clue? I mean, you said, "Look, I really think we have a chance to win it all." But could you have imagined in that year's time what has befallen all of us?
Yeah, honestly, I knew we had a great team. I knew I was very fortunate to be traded here. And I thought that winning a World Series was something this team was capable of with this group of guys. I didn't know what happened that year, but I mean, everyone just all of a sudden reached their level and played incredible baseball, and then we accelerated in the postseason. I mean, we didn't lose a game at home in the postseason, which is unheard of, and that goes a long way without the fans.
And 11-3 in that postseason, which is amazing. Here's a look at what the Phillies did in the postseason. Defeated the Brewers 3-1, the Dodgers 4-1, and then the Tampa Bay Rays 4-1. At what point, when you're going through 48 and actually 51 straight saves and 51 opportunities, I mean, it's easy to say, I don't think about it. I just come out and each night's separate. But do you ever think, my goodness, I've been perfect for a long time?
No, because for me, if nothing else, tonight, if I don't get it done, the great thing about being a closer is that you'll probably get a chance the very next night. And so that's one of the things we have to be ready to do. And so we have to be able to understand that if you do blow one, it's not that big a deal. You'll get another chance the next night. But, I definitely was picking up a lot of confidence, and it seemed like it just kind of kept steamrolling. and I felt great. And whether that streak was there or not last year, I felt great pitching. So, fortunately, it was just there also.
At some point, maybe 2010 or 11, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? The streak's probably going to go. And if it's here, you would probably be the first pitcher to blow a save and get a standing O walking off the field.
I don't know about that.
Right? Am I right? But that's a couple of years away. That's a couple of years from now. Again, no pressure.
Okay.
So, talk about your out pitch, which was devastating, the slider. And when that's on, was your go-to pitch, when you threw that, and there's nothing anybody can do.
Well, and I feel it's kind of weird. I tore my meniscus in spring training, and I remember trying to battle back through that. I actually had knee surgery in October at the end of the season last year, and then I had a torn meniscus again in the same knee in spring training. So I'm thinking, this is just exactly how I wanted to start my career with the Phillies. I wasn't thrilled about that at all. But what it did do was allow me to take a step back and say, when the season starts, I probably won't have my max velocity. What I need to do is really get my control down, and on my slider in particular, because that is my bread and butter. And in the past, when I've done best is when I'm throwing that for a strike or putting it in and out of the zone. But for whatever reason this year, the pitch kind of reached a new level for me in terms of being able to control it. Throwing it in the strike zone, away to a lefty, inside to a lefty. I'd never really done that before, and this year it was kind of like having more than one pitch because we were able to use it at different times and in different ways. Mm-hmm. So it's always been my out pitch. It's always been a pitch I can get strikeouts on, but this year I had a lot more control with it, and that really helped me out.
Charlie said he'd like to win a couple more of these. I'm sure you echo that. Cole Hamill said it as well. And I'm wondering, when you look at your bullpen, it looks pretty formidable. Ruben has done a great job getting everybody in the fold. But JC will be gone for the first 50 games, and I'm wondering who fills the gaps and how significant a loss that would be. Third of the season almost. Yeah,
losing JC definitely hurts because he is, in my opinion, the best lefty setup guy there is in baseball, and he can chew up anybody's bat. I mean, he's a great pitcher, but the one thing we do have is a lot of depth, and we will find a way to kind of replace his innings. Scott Ayers is going to help us a lot. He's a guy that has gotten it done in the past, and came over to us last year and did a great job. So you definitely lose a little bit, but fortunately for us, we're so deep that we can, and we have Scott Aaron, and we can kind of replace those innings. And then when JC gets back, I guess his arm will be very fresh for the rest of the season. So.
That's right. How about that? Brad said we are so deep. That is just music to our ears. We are so deep. Let's go out to Tom McCarthy, who's with the fans. Tom?
All right, Michael, we're going to head to Jamie Moyer's hometown, Solderton, Pennsylvania, and Paul has a question for Brad Lidge.
How hard do you think you're going to have to try to be perfect again?
Well, I'm going to have to try real hard. The thing about baseball is a lot of times, even when you're trying your hardest, the result isn't necessarily what you would expect. Sometimes you throw the right pitch at the right time and you break a guy's bat, but the ball accidentally drops in somewhere and maybe a guy from third base scores, and that would be a blown save. So, that's the one thing. The only thing you can do is control how the ball comes out of your hand. You want to do everything you can. You want to have a great season. But, yeah, I mean, you have to get lucky, too. And that's one of the things about Eric Gagne's consecutive save streak that's so impressive to me is that 84 times he had luck on his side also. And just a real quick story, Lance Berkman, when I played in Houston, hit a ball off him 436 feet that would have been a blown save right in the middle of his streak. But his center fielder, Dave Roberts, jumped over the fence and caught it. And, that's just the type of thing. You have to have luck to have a streak like that, even when you're pitching well. And a good defense behind you doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, which you have.
Which I have.
Tommy?
Michael, I think that's our last question. Paul had the last one to try to bring Brad home and win that, get that save stretch going a little deeper. So we'll throw it back to you.
All right, Tom McCarthy, thank you very much. Last one real quick. When did you realize how special a place this is? Because it's easy to say coming in, I've heard this and that about Philadelphia, but when did you realize, my goodness, the top came off this city?
Well, I think as a visiting player, you know that how passionate the city is before you even get here. And I think when the season starts kind of rolling around and you start to sense how much anticipation the fans have, the standing ovations you get, the intensity that the fans have here, you start realizing pretty quickly that it's a pretty special place. And then it just gets more and more special every month. And when the playoffs rolled around, I mean, I was telling people, I can't even imagine a city, we play in an outdoor stadium and it feels like you're in a closed environment because it's so loud here. Yeah. I mean, that speaks volumes about the fans, and it just got more and more special as the year went on for me.
Well, Brad, congratulations. Thanks for being here again. We look forward to watching you pitch. Brad,